What's going on, Mere Mortal runners? This is the first iteration of the Running for Mere Mortals Journal Club, and I have two articles for you. The first one is going to be about Achilles tendinopathy. Basically, there are two schools of thought to what lead to Achilles tendinopathy, something that is very prevalent in the rear foot runner, the rear foot strike gait for a lot of the runners out there. I know that I've had Achilles tendonitis in the past, so this one is near and dear to my heart. There are two schools of what leads to the tendonitis. Is it a whipping or is it a tearing? Where the whipping essentially is anytime that the heel comes down during heel strike, there is a inward rotation or eversion of that unit as the heel touches the ground and rolls inward. It causes a whipping mechanism or overstretch of the structures there, leading to the tendinopathy. The second is going to be a tearing, or basically when the forefoot comes down, strikes the ground along the heel, there's a lot of tension that goes into the calf muscle, and this causes some micro tearing to that area. So two schools of thought. The study here used 7 runners, and they mixed it between folks that have had tendinopathy and folks that have not had tendinopathy. They both have similar gaits. I know 7 is not a huge number, but it's an interesting study. It was pretty high speed. They did this 3-dimensional gait analysis for these runners. Looked at a bunch of things, but mainly a peak rear foot eversion, dorsiflexion angle, and peak ankle power absorption. And interestingly, they found no difference between folks that have had tendinopathy in the past and no tendinopathy in the past. This means that prolonged rear foot eversion or high stress plantar flexor forces were not exactly always correlated with Achilles tendinopathy. What does this mean for us runners? Well, it means that Achilles tendinopathy and the origins of it is not as straightforward and as simple, and it cannot be lumped into just a couple of categories, that it is dynamic and that there's a lot of things to consider, which is a good thing. You can look at your training load, your recovery practices, your footwear, and all the other modifiable factors out there. That does not mean that all rear foot strikers are doomed to have Achilles tendonitis. So like anything else, just listen to your body, and the feedback that you receive from yourself will be crucial in listening to your gut and when to speed up and when to slow down and how to best care for yourself. Blending strength, flexibility, cardio, rest, and nutrition. And the second article, this one's going to be interesting. It basically looks at the fatigue of the feet and runners throughout the gait cycle during a run, and they broke it up into 2 categories. They looked at the extrinsic operating muscles for the feet as well as the intrinsic muscles for the feet. They broke up the group into half, healthy runners volunteering, and one group did heel raises while the other group did toe curls along some paper towels. Then they had them walk 500 steps, and they measured a couple of different things. Mostly when they were walking, they noticed the fatigue led to longer single stance and terminal stance phases of the gait, meaning that there was a little less pep in the step. Results showed from the extrinsic to the intrinsic some increased delays and timing in both, but what they found, which was surprising, that the intrinsic group showed more fatigue. So those that use like the tiny little muscles in their feet actually showed more fatigue than the guys using the big muscles. So what does this mean? What is the takeaway? Well, that just highlights the crucial nature of addressing even the smallest little structures in the feet, as they do serve to guide us as far as keeping us healthy for running and keeping us injury free. So getting a good program that addresses the tiny little muscles of the toes, of the midfoot, to keep the eversion, inversion, stabilization of your feet sound is necessary. Also, considering stretching and just, strengthening, stretching, and just being healthy to the tiny little muscles in the feet. And that is our episode for the first iteration of the Running for Mere Mortals Journal Club. I hope you enjoyed that. That was kind of fun. I've been wanting to do this, kind of tie in some of the literature. I go and geek out about this stuff all the time, and I wasn't quite sure how to add it into the channel here, but I want to include it because I think it's important. It keeps me academically interested, and it's just fun to see that there's other people geeking out about running as much as we are. Well, go ahead and click like, Subscribe if you want to. Follow for more. Let me know. Do you want to continue doing stuff like this? Because if so, there's plenty more. Thanks. See you in the next one. I have links for all of these articles in the description.